Mr. Charlton. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many new and familiar faces in front of me. Many of you I actually spoke to last week, so it's great to see you back regularly on Upper Campus, because working with parents closely is really important to us. So, excitement, enthusiasm, and a mild dose of apprehension. These are just some of the feelings that your child may be feeling when they're choosing their GCSE options. In fact, for most students, it's the first time in their lives they've had any real autonomy over the direction of their education. So to prepare them for this and to soothe that apprehension somewhat, we help to inspire students by giving them positive role models, introducing them to famous decision makers from history. We've got 3 on the board in front of me here. Does anyone know the names of any of them? Maybe one? No? What about the one in the middle?
Teddy.
We got Theodore Roosevelt in the middle, so obviously an American president. In fact, it was Dwight Eisenhower who invented the Eisenhower matrix, which is often used in decision making. On the right here, we've got Ignacio de Loyola, who is head of the Jesuits. He was the founder of the Jesuits. And he essentially came up with an 11-step decision-making process, which is still used today, 250 years on. And here we have Mary Anderson. And while many students, and myself, when stuck in traffic, would be likely to maybe go on our phones or read a book to pass the time, Mary Anderson actually decided to invent the windscreen wiper, because she was fed up of getting out of her car and constantly having to clean the rain off the windscreen. That was all the way back in 1902. So, moving on. We're going to talk about what GCSEs are actually to start with, and then we're actually going to talk about the processes that we have in place to support your child in choosing their options. So GCSEs are 2-year courses, and they are recognized by all major universities globally. A star is the highest grade, and U is the lowest grade. That's the CIE. That's one of the examination boards that we use. The other examination board is called Pearson. Now for Pearson, 9 is the highest possible grade to achieve, and a 1 is the lowest possible grade. Please don't worry too much about taking photos of these slides. You can if you wish, but we will be sending all of the materials from today's presentations to you retrospectively by email. So it's ideal preparation, not just for A-level courses, but for any post-16 studies that your child wishes to undertake. Our minimum requirements for sixth form, and I'm sure this is something Mr. Davis will be talking about later on, are 5 A-star to C grades, including English and mathematics. Major universities will not accept students without GCSEs or equivalent in English and mathematics. Therefore, we do insist on that. If a student doesn't have English and mathematics, they can actually take those subjects alongside the other A-levels that they take in the school. And here in the table, you can see some of our equivalences. So 7 to 9, an A and A star, they're considered the exceeding grades, the exceptional grades. Anything above a 4 or a C is considered a good pass, and hopefully all students are getting above a U grade. So the allocations. Now this refers to how many times every 2 weeks students would have each subject. So you can see mathematics and English 8 times every 2 weeks. 55-minute lessons in the secondary school, in case we have primary parents here. For science, we've got 13 lessons split between our 3 core elements of biology, chemistry, and physics. Core PE, we believe that a healthy body helps to promote a healthy mind. So we have 3 lessons a fortnight of PE, and PSHE and assembly 1 a week. Okay, so assembly is period 2 on a Tuesday, and PSHE is period 3 on a Thursday. And this is the autonomy I was talking about. So students pick up to 4 optional subjects, and each of those optional subjects take place 6 times every 2 weeks. Backwards. Better. Okay. So just to break this down a little bit more. So with the core curriculum, our English is broken up into first or second language. If your child does first language English, they also have the opportunity to get a second English qualification in literature. With science, all of our qualifications are at the higher tier, and we're very proud of entering all students for higher tier qualifications. Students will either sit biology, chemistry, or physics separately, or some students will sit a combined course where they do examinations in biology, chemistry, and physics, but they get 2 GCSEs. This is still a very highly regarded course, and it's still very highly thought of by the universities because it is at a higher tier. It just is more manageable for some of our students. With mathematics, again, we put our students through a highly recognized higher tier program, and for the top few students in the top set, we actually offer further mathematics. But this is only available to students who are already at a grade 9 in mathematics by the end of year 10. I can remember the allocations, but apparently finding a button is quite difficult. So these are our optional subjects that I was talking about. Now, I've highlighted economics in red. We're very proud of this. So economics is a new subject that we have introduced this year, okay? It ties in nicely to our existing A-level in economics, and it helps to prepare students for it. Now, it does have entry requirements. So students have to pass an entrance test to gain access to the economics course. Business studies doesn't require an entrance test, but it can still help to prepare students to some extent for the economics A-level. But we really believe that introducing this course enhances our provision. And we're doing it with the Cambridge board, so CIE. The other courses that require a minimum threshold in order to access are the modern foreign languages. So French, Spanish, and Russian require at least Key Stage 3 level knowledge in order for you to be able to start those courses. Okay? So I'll leave that up just for a moment so as you can read exactly what we have to offer in terms of optional subjects at GCSE. And this is an example of an option block. A lot of schools would just give this to students and say, pick one subject from each block. We don't do that. The way we work is we actually ask students to choose, in an ideal world, from that previous screen, which 4 subjects would you like to study? We collate all of the responses from all of the students, and we build the option blocks around student preferences. And what that means is that every year we have a 90 to 95% satisfaction rate when it comes to students getting all of their first choice options in year 9. This is something that not many schools offer, and something we're very, very proud of offering. Students also pick 2 reserved choices. So what that means is if they don't get their first choice, then myself, another member of SMT, or Mr. Cortan, who is the head of year 9 this year, would meet with a student who doesn't get all of their first choices and discuss which of the reserved choices might be more suitable for them. Okay? Another reason why students might not get all of their first choices is because maybe they picked a subject which they didn't have the prerequisite knowledge for. So, for example, economics, or we do sometimes get students who pick French without being able to speak any French, music without being able to play an instrument, which again is quite challenging, not impossible, but challenging. So sometimes if a student picks a subject which just isn't suited to them, we do have those conversations and make sure that they get the personalized attention that they need. Okay, so next steps. So after this, the option choices, I've pretty much spoken through all of this, but as you can see, we do make sure that every child gets personalized care and attention, and only after this are the option choices confirmed. So even when students have chosen their options, they get until 2 weeks into year 10 to change their minds. Okay, so they confirm their options for the first time in March, and they've got another 6 months after that to change their minds, as long as they stick to the option blocks that we have created. And what really helps with GCSE study, I always talk about attendance at this point, but I also want to talk about parental involvement, because recently I was reading a study from Claudia Nicoletta Pound, and she mentioned that academic outcomes were 42.1% higher depending on parental involvement in Key Stage 4 studies. It's a very recent study, 2019. So it just goes to show how important we all are in this room and how working in triangulation, teachers, parents and students can achieve remarkable things. I thank you all for being here because it shows that you care and it shows that you want to make a difference in your child's education, which is brilliant. One way in which you can help is by accessing our curriculum booklets, which we update every year, and our grade descriptors. So reports are going out soon. We have grade descriptors and curriculum booklets in the important documents section of the school website. Okay, very, very useful, a treasure trove of information for any parent. So these are just some of the reasons we promote to students for choosing a subject. PSHE lessons on options choices will start after Christmas and will last a couple of months in the build up to their deadline in March. What we don't want is students choosing options because their friends chose it. And unfortunately, we do get that every year. So we always have conversations within tutor groups, with head of year, to make sure that students are choosing their GCSE options for the right reason, okay? And these are just some of what we consider to be the right reasons. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening.